Greetings and welcome to another one of these LGR console unboxing things decades later, and this one makes me feel so very strange, but here we are. It is 20 years since the Xbox 360 came out, and I've got one of these to unbox, as well as a lot of memories to remember and somehow process the fact that a couple of decades have passed since this thing was fresh. Here we are now. It's a retrospective on it. This is very strange. Yeah, I was less than a month away from turning 19 years old when the Xbox 360 launched in the US on November 22nd, 2005, with Europe, UK, and Japanese releases in the following few weeks, and most of the rest of the world in the next year. And it was at a price point of $399 here in the US when it first launched in 2005, at least for the full-fat premium model, which this isn't exactly that. This is from a few years later. I wasn't able to find one of the earliest ones in the box. Those, it turns out, are rather expensive, but these you can still get pretty easily. This one has a 60 gig hard drive, but originally it was a 20 gigabyte hard drive in the premium one for $400. Or for $100 less, you could get the Core model. Now that didn't have a hard disk at all. It's kind of wild cost reduction. Even the original Xbox had a built-in hard disk from the start. And it seems the Core model, which later became the Arcade Edition, also didn't support backwards compatibility due to the lack of hard disk. And even if you did have the hard disk that allowed for back compat, there were only 466 of the 989 original Xbox games, a little less than half of them. But whatever, overall, I was still very much interested in it when it came out. I mean, in college, entering young adulthood, finally had just a little bit of money coming in from my job I was working, and I mean, it was just all over the place in terms of hype. The G4 TV station alone, I remember watching the heck out of that. It was still a huge thing, and man, they had this launch event, lasted hours of just teasers and behind the scenes and trailers and footage of random people waiting in line trying to get the first Xbox 360s. Yeah, just the overall excitement for a high definition generation of consoles starting so relatively soon was off the charts exhilarating. And they had the opportunity to get a jump on everybody else and come out with something new a year before Sony and Nintendo. And let me tell you, that head start was legit. Like I said, I had a job at that time. I was actually working at Target in the electronics section, and I mean, you saw it firsthand every single day. These things were selling and attracting all kinds of attention from especially the demo kiosk. It was showing a loop of gameplay from Cameo, and the latest Tony Hawk's game, and that King Kong movie game, that seriously looked wildly next generation in 2005. And it really picked up in popularity from there, even when the PS3 came out, because, I mean, the PS3 was so expensive by comparison, and everybody knew that Halo 3 was on the horizon. I was absolutely sold on the Xbox 360, and I wanted to buy one, although I didn't, just due to not being able to justify the money on it for a little bit. But by the time Grand Theft Auto 4 was announced and it was going to be coming out to current-gen consoles, not PC, I chose the 360, and it ended up being my first time buying what was then a current-gen console. I had always been a PC gamer and had hand-me-down consoles, so this was a new experience for me. And I mainly went with the 360 because it was cheaper than PS3, of course, but also it had a lot of exclusives that I wanted to play. And man, what an exciting time having a brand new type of TV, a next-gen console. It was so absolutely fun just exploring all the exclusives, and then GTA 4 when that came out, and the Red Ring of Death happened. Yeah, I specifically remember going to Circuit City when I bought mine, looking for one of the Jasper motherboards, the revision that supposedly made the Red Ring of Death much less likely to happen. And while I thought I got one, I don't exactly remember if I got one that was like right before the Jasper or it was a Jasper and it was just, either way, it was affected by the Red Ring, and that sucked. And yeah, the Red Ring issue is why I've kept this particular old model lying around here for a while, specifically for this video, because it is one of those very much affected by the Red Ring of Death, even though it is a 2010 model. Brings back memories, and not good ones. Plus, it's a good reason to just take it apart and talk about some tech specs. And to get inside, I'm using the S2 Pro electric screwdriver from Fantic, this video's sponsor. Now, their smaller, lighter duty screwdrivers have proven really useful on LGR for a while, but sometimes you just need more power. And the Fantic S2 Pro delivers with a beefier metal design and 7 power settings from 0.5 up to 6 Newton meters of torque at 250 RPM, indicated by the glowing light bar. And it lives in this magnetic storage case with 20 quarter-inch hex shank bits, an extension rod, 2 parts trays, and this handy 90-degree angle adapter, excellent for handling tighter spaces. And it's powered by a 2000 milliamp hour battery, conveniently charging with USB-C, so you can get a lot done, especially with its LED flashlight. Fantic is currently running a Black Friday sale, so to get a discounted S2 Pro, follow the link in the description and use the code LGR-S2 Pro for a total of 35% off. Alright, that's all of that. So yeah, when this thing was working, it was some impressive mid-2000s stuff. Starting with its big ol' Xenos GPU, a custom ATI-developed chip, now AMD, based on their R400 architecture, 500 MHz, 240 shader units, 16 texture mapping units, and its own 10 MB eDRAM cache, while also sharing in the system's overall 512 MB of GDDR3 memory running at 700 MHz. And of course, the Xenon GPU, co-developed by Microsoft with IBM, a triple-core PowerPC RISC processor clocked at 3.2 GHz with 1 MB of L2 cache. A pretty big departure from the original Xbox's Pentium 3 chip. But yeah, as for the red ring issue, I don't know the exact cause on this exact console, and there were multiple things it could be, but the most common was a general hardware failure. Often the GPU, the larger of the two flip chip packages in the middle there. Specifically, it was the fracturing of GPU solder joints due to thermal stress as the main cause, partially due to the lead-free solder that they used, and just the overall design of the GPU and such. But yeah, the repeated heating and cooling from power cycles resulted in tiny breaks between the chip and the main board. And it's not something I'm able to take apart any further or get close enough to show, unfortunately, but either way though, it was a giant pain in the balls. The solder balls, one that Microsoft addressed with 3-year extended warranties at a cost of $1.15 billion, according to former Xbox lead Peter Moore. But yeah, even with the blight of the Red Ring of Death causing so much damage to the brand, people still bought the heck out of Xbox 360s. I mean, 84 million plus units sold is what Microsoft has put out there in terms of the number of overall units worldwide, which does put it in the top 10 best-selling consoles of all time. I do wonder how many of those, though, were people like me who just ended up getting another one that was supposed to be less Red Ring of Death prone after their first one died. But, you know, either way, it's a lot of units. And this was one of them, and let's just go ahead and open it up. So as it often is with one of these, I did buy it brand new, just an open box, but supposedly new and unused. That said, I always have my doubts, and I extra have doubts this time, because it's not actually the one that was in the auction. I ordered a US model. I ended up with this US/Canadian model with French on it. So I did get a bit of a refund. But yeah, pretty much just an Xbox Live ad here in English and French. And all the accessories. And oh man, I forgot about that little webcam even existing. And the little keyboard. In the mid-2000s, like wireless headset and stuff. Genuinely, I forgot about those. Oh yeah, the remote. I had one of those at some point. And you had the different tiers of Xbox Live. So I remember having mostly just Xbox Live Silver. You just connect and you're a member for free. Right, yeah, because then there was Gold. Exclusive downloads, early access to demos, plus online multiplayer gaming. Really just stuck to PC if I wanted multiplayer. Oh, it's one of these fold-out things. Man, it smells really good. Alright, so this was the Go Pro kit. So controller, console, component, power supply, Ethernet cable, and a headset, and hopefully not a Red Ring of Death. It's entirely possible, though. I'm fully anticipating that as a possibility. What do we got in here? It's crazy. I don't remember like any of this stuff from mine, even though I know I had one that was, you know, new, completely actually new. Okay. Oh, just the warranty. That's all that is. Well, I mean, that would turn out to be pretty important and extended. Free issue of Official Xbox Magazine. And here's the actual setup guide here. Still got the CRT right there, which, you know, I was so ready to get an LCD that I found one of those. It was like a clearance model from my job at Target. And yeah, it was like 2008, so they were starting to come down in price. That is definitely open, but the seller said it would be. Ooh, yeah. I remember these. Halloween flavored packaging and the controller. Gotta say, I am almost more excited for this than anything else, presuming it's actually new. I don't remember if this actually came in one of these orange and green bags. I would assume it probably did. And like these have what looked like original tape on them. Obviously this doesn't. Whatever. Yeah, I'm just gonna assume that this is a repackaged job like so many others that I've gotten on eBay. Because dang it, that's what people tend to do, it seems. But yeah, this feels very fresh. And I gotta say, to this day, this is just one of the most solid in the hands, hand-filling controllers ever. I love this controller. It's pretty much ideal except for the D-pad is just gross and squishy, but pretty much everything else I love. You got X input, it's just like the standard for controllers on PC to this day. What do we got here? Just some Ethernet, gray Ethernet, that headset, which I don't think I ever used. Oh my word. That foam is holding up. Oh, it smells like Adam Sessler's body spray. Very mid-2000s. Yeah, I just had to test this horribly uncomfortable thing out because, my goodness, this sound, this everything about this, you know, is very much the official headset of hearing strangers randomly yelling out terrible things about your mother and slurs and stuff in the late 2000s. It's very much a thing of its time, for better or worse. Usually worse. This is not a good headset. All right, just a nice looking component cable set. That is lovely. The TV and HD TV on the side there for, yeah, composite and component on this one cable. But I actually didn't use this, not for very long, because there was a serious overscan issue with my particular LCD I had, and it just cut off so much of the image and there was no way to adjust it. So I ended up going to one of these VGA cables because, you know, it could do 720p, and my Sharp TV had a VGA in. So this, for whatever reason, it had zero overscan. I guess it was just because of the panel. I don't know, there was something about the resolution of it. It was like perfect for PC resolutions, not TV resolutions. Anyway, I never really used component because of that. We'll try it today though. And then what do we got here? Oh, that's already open. This is just the power cable with its weird two-prong thing there. I always thought that was odd, but there's no grounding on this. I suppose due to the type of power supply it is. I don't really know the specifics of that, but yeah, this chunky looking crazy connector there, which they changed this a few times and the wattage and everything, but yeah, they always have those two prongs there instead of three. All right, let's get to this bad boy. There's 60 gigabyte hard drive. Look at that. Yeah, this is honestly looking quite new. No scratches or scuffs or any fingerprints or pretty much anything. It was obviously opened, but yeah, it's still got the little plastic on the IR right there. I'm not seeing any signs of rear entry. All right, so this one is 2008, October 14th. It's entirely possible this sucker will red ring. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, what a beauty. What an absolute beauty. I always loved the design of this thing, the clickiness of all the stuff. Oh, those feel so nice and springy still. And the memory cards. Never had one of those. I never needed to. The first 360 I got had a 60 gig drive like this one. And then of course there were the earlier ones of these that only had the 20 gig hard drive on launch, but yeah, 60 gig after a few years. And then there was the Xbox 360 Elite in summer of 2007. I remember that hit when I was working at Target, and the big thing about that, other than the new black color, was just the fact that it had a bigger hard drive, much bigger, and then HDMI, which, holy crap, you know, none of the earlier ones had that. This one does, because it's from 2008, so I think within a year of the Elite coming out in 07, and then of course there was that Xbox 360S or Slim model in 2010. I think that's the one I used the most, because after I got my replacement 360 Pro, I made a video about the Slim, and I used that thing for years. And hey, does anybody remember the Xbox 360e? I barely did until looking things up for this video. Yeah, that came along in 2013. Not to mention all of the different Xbox 360 bundles and the special editions and different reskins for the exterior and all that. Of course, the popular Halo 3 green one. I never bothered with any of those though, but one thing that I did think was so cool in a very, very silly way were all the face plates. Because yeah, you could get these things and then just swap them out like a vestigial early cell phone idea. Never liked doing that. But yeah, it comes off pretty easily. And then you can just plop on whatever faceplate. And you can buy these in stores. Different companies would have them in different brands, and the contests would reward them. Different games came with them for pre-orders. Of course though, I mean, this is LGR. This is one that I always wanted to get. Honestly, even back then, because I was like, holy crap, wood grain on a console, reminded me of the Atari 2600. But you'll just look at these things. Who had the Guy Fieri model? Speak up. I'm just gonna take this apart. It was in bad shape. Look at that. Not bad at all, honestly. I mean, it's just not even a veneer, it's just a sticker basically to look kind of wood grainish, and for some reason it's got stripes, but that is so good. Whoa. Oh, the little springs came off. Yeah, that like almost always happens on these things. There we go. Honestly, I love it. If only we could do the whole thing like that. So usually on these console unboxing videos, I'd go from a trusty Trinitron here, because it's appropriate for so many things that I've covered, but this is the HD era, so we need something HD of the era. Here's this Sharp Aquos, which is from like early 2004, I think. 16:9 aspect ratio and component. No VGA, but certainly looks the part. There we go. That's interesting. Well, we got a Blades interface and it's trying to do the startup there, but it is not showing correctly. Now I'm wondering if this is even HD. You kind of think of it, I haven't seen like an HD logo on here anywhere, but yeah, when I picked this up at a thrift store, I didn't even think to check if it was HD. There's always something with these videos. The first startup, yeah, I mean, it's at least showing the Blades interface and it is working, not red ringed. I'm ejecting just fine over here. Everything seems great with the console. Wait a sec, that's right, we do have that switch on here, the HDTV/TV switch, which will go to non-HD resolution. And if this works, I guess the TV is just standard def, but yeah. Yeah, widescreen, but standard def. We'll do a little bit on here, and then I might move over to an actual HD TV that's just newer. And I also need batteries. All right, English. Nice. Oh yeah, the pre-installed gamer pics. Let's go with 2000s skull thing. Heck yeah, dude. All right, family settings. Don't need to mess with anything in there. Don't need to lock anything out, but yeah, high definition display settings. Yeah, HD TV output disabled because it's in TV mode. I'm sure we can't do any of these anyway. Pretty sure. I'll check in a bit, but yeah, whatever. Actually, we do have this screen format. Maybe we can just switch over to stretching. Oh, geez. Yeah, there's some crazy overscan. Look how much is cut off around the edges. That sucks. And that's actually what I had as a problem with my other Sharp back in the day with the component. And that's why I switched over to VGA, but this doesn't even have VGA as an input. We do have themes we could choose from here. I mean, we've already got the classic Blades going on, which I was really hoping that this came with. But yeah, there's also a carbon version. That's awesome. Glass. Apple, eat your heart out. Not transparent glass, but yeah, just gotta go with the default. I mean, honestly, even for just being SD and kind of stretched, It is looking amazing. Man, being able to connect to Windows Media Center and do streaming. I mean, like you had actual streaming apps as well, but I remember using Media Center Edition to get things for my computer to stream on here. We have a whole 51 gigs free. Fantastic. Remember putting music on here too, and you could like play music alongside your games. Again, much like the original Xbox, but you know, this is the first time I'd experienced that. And now I'm absolutely not going online or doing any updates or changing anything. This Blades interface is what I wanted and why I picked one of these systems of the time. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just maybe move over to another TV, because as fun as this one is, it's also not particularly great to look at. Well, now the construction's going out there. Building the new LGR workshop storage space is quite loud, but anyway, it's just the TV from my spare bedroom normally, and obviously it doesn't fit the time period at all, but it is HD and very nice and crispy. Those blades look amazing and sound amazing. And yeah, we should have a full 1080p here. Yeah, we do. At least for the menus. Obviously, most games are going to run 720p, or actually much lower than that from what I remember internally, but it's nice to have the blades in 1080p here. Anyway, okay, let's get to some dang games. Oh yeah, what a literal stacked selection of all-time classics, honestly. A lot of these are just incredibly iconic games and went on to become series, or they were just one-off really interesting things that I don't know, symbolizes this whole generation. There's a few of them that I'm missing. I can't find one of my other boxes of these. There's probably another 20 somewhere, but yeah, this is definitely a majority of the things, at least that I picked up, mostly at a discount. I didn't buy too many of these new. For the most part, in the 360 generation, I stuck to renting games because it made sense. You know, you had services like GameFly where they would mail you discs that you'd pick out online, and of course, going to local places like Blockbuster that was still around, at least for a chunk of the 360's lifespan. But yeah, there were very few of these that I actually bought when they were new, and then the rest I picked up when they became just dirt cheap in pawn shops and thrift stores. But this is my original copy of GTA 4, which I absolutely did buy when it was brand new. You know, it was the whole reason that I really wanted the system. It has my original receipt from the Best Buy here in Asheville where I got it on April 29th, 2008 for 60 bucks. And yeah, I had that poster it came with on my wall for just years and years. I still have, what is this? Oh yeah, a month of gold trial, which I did indeed redeem. And this one stands out, of course, because well, I mean, it's Halo 3, one of the most look forward to games earlier on in the 360's life. This one still has the do not sell before 9/25/07 sticker on the top of there. And the reason that this is, I've actually still never played it except for multiplayer, but yeah, it stands out because in 2007, that's when I was the electronics guy at the store. And I remember when these came in and it was like, holy crap. And there were all these people, you know, not just customers, but also employees being like, can I just get a copy early? Oh my gosh. And yeah, they were actually limiting who could even enter the storeroom where they were kept until launch day. But yeah, that is my picture there. And here is one of the copies that I ended up picking up later, mostly because it still had that on there. And I clearly remember seeing that orange threatening sticker on top. But yeah, it feels impossible to focus on only a few games to talk about here. The 360 has such a rich library. It's where some of the biggest gaming blockbusters got their start, like Gears of War kicking off a whole subgenre of third-person cover shooters. For a while, it felt like every other game had an over-the-shoulder camera, chest-high walls, and blind firing. But it was also an era of games that absolutely doubled down on more unique mechanics and gameplay gimmicks or some kind of signature feature. Not always with the best results, but dang it, they were often quite memorable. There were some really standout mid-budget titles back then, and I miss that. You know, things that were not AAA games, but more AA or, I don't know, single A, whatever. They cost less to develop and cost less to buy, while still having a level of quality to them, putting them beyond simple shovelware. And also, it's the era that we saw the rise of HD remakes and remasters and all that kind of stuff, with compilations and re-releases hitting increasingly often, especially later on in the 360's decade or so lifespan. But even when you had the Xbox One coming out, there were still plenty of 360 releases, and a lot of them too that ended up being these combo releases, like this release of Rage here with Xbox One, or really Xbox 360 version that played on an Xbox One being put in here for this Platinum Hits release. 360 game will download to Xbox One console. Performance same as Xbox 360 experience. Indeed. It's just a fascinating transitionary time. That's more than enough of a ramble though. I cannot wait any longer. I want to try GTA 4 on this fresh looking 360 because it's been so long since I played this. Well, that's not great. Let's try again. Oh, don't tell me everything is working except for the drive. Let's try another game here, just to be sure. That sucks, dude. You know, when it comes to Xbox 360s, there is one rule. If you have one that works, you actually probably don't, so keep a spare or a few. This one may be worse for wear externally, but I at least know that it runs the games. So yeah, this one is not running the classic dash, but whatever, we'll deal with the new Xbox experience. Oh, Xbox 360 nonsense. Heck yeah.
What terrorist? There's been a big scare and you can't go across the bridges so good.
Hove Beach.
Come in. Make yourself at home. What's mine is yours.
Goodness, seeing this again on an Xbox 360 is, oh, and achievements, of course, right? That was, what a novel concept. Yeah, honestly, achievements, I wasn't really super sold on them at first. I'm like, that's a silly idea. But, you know, you come to appreciate them over time. It was a fun way to go back to games, or, you know, continue games after you'd already played them for a good while and try to get 100%, and the whole idea of, like, completing a game. It's just interesting how much you get used to stuff once they introduce a feature that's, like, actually, just fun. My goodness, the physics. GTA 4. Let us get out of this van. I actually really do like the way that the cars handle in this, to a degree. Or maybe I just got really used to this game. But yeah, there's something about it. I appreciate the heaviness. Regardless of all of the very much of its timeness of the visual presentation, the performance and whatnot, this is still immediately engrossing and just, oh my goodness, the whole way it felt 2008 playing this, I mean, yeah, this was the beginning of the next generation as far as I was concerned. Just because having this kind of extremely detailed open world and everything, I mean, I was all about the open world and sandboxy kind of stuff. More so than like linear storyline things. Although obviously I played tons of those too, but it was definitely the open world. It was this and Crackdown and Saints Row and so many other things that really had me excited for this generation. I love those physics. Oh! Heck yeah. Yeah. A BlackBerry looking thing. It was so cool to be able to have this though. Change your ringtones.
I'd like to see you again, Nico. You look like that kind of guy I want to get to know.
You look like you just jumped off the boat, Nico. Handsome man like you should get some new friends.
I think he's fine the way he is.
I don't think he even changed out of those things on the journey. How you gonna impress a classy girl like Michelle?
Are you not impressed?
Come on, Valerie, this is embarrassing. You're trying to set us up.
I'm trying to get you two together so Nico will stop taking up all of Roman's time.
I remember when I first realized that when you replay a mission, you get like totally different dialogue, and that just blew my mind. I really forgot that you just start off this game by going on dates. Messing around on your cell phone, going on a date. Sorry.
There's a bowling alley over on the boardwalk. Why don't we play a few frames?
Let's go bowling.
Great, we're here. I'd like to play a few frames, wouldn't you?
Yep.
Thought you were doing me a favor by going out with me.
Well, anyway, GTA 4. It's good stuff. Going on dates, you know. Wholesome time. It's been recording for 50 minutes already. Oh. Okay. Let's move on to the next game. And that next game has got to be Gears of War. I haven't played this in years and years as well. Yeah, somebody who grew up with Epic Mega Games and Epic Games and Unreal Tournament and Cliff Bleszinski stuff and just, you know, the Unreal Engine. I was so excited to play this back in the day, see what it was all about, because it just seemed so fresh and different. And it was.
You get into a lot of trouble for doing this.
Not anymore. Things have changed. We better go.
What about the other prisoners?
Gears of War. Such a dude, man, bro game, dude. Yes.
It's this way.
It's so gray. Oh, how charming.
You're the one that wanted to go this way.
Ground units are taking heavy fire. We have one of those.
So cinematic. Action set pieces. Take cover. That's the whole game. Honestly, this was kind of revolutionary, though. I mean, you can't downplay that. It seriously felt like nothing else at the time.
Enemy reinforcement.
Take cover.
Oh, yeah, the texture streaming. Come on, Unreal Engine, you can do it. There it is. I gotta say, as much as I enjoyed Unreal Tournament 3 for, you know, what it was, it also wasn't this. This just had so much more of, like, an identity, like, just it was its own thing,
Okay, man.
unapologetically.
You still got it?
I respect it for that.
Find out.
Gears of War. Love those grenades. So satisfying to throw. Oh, this is a stupid thing to do right here, but it's so fun. Oh, the Lancer, one of the best. This game begs for a really good sound system, though, and this TV is not cutting it. I remember playing this at a friend's house with surround sound. It was just incredible.
Who's next?
Oh, well, you know. Game is awesome. Definitely benefits, though, from some of the modern versions with 60 FPS and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, it was nonetheless an incredible experience on its launch. That's for sure. Very good memories. All right, I wanted to do a racing game. There are so many good ones on the 360. The Forza games, a lot of good Need for Speed games, Burnout and whatever. PGR, though. Project Gotham Racing. And the third one in particular, I haven't played this since this thing came out. Play by yourself. An F40 is Class C? What the heck is Class B and A? Yeah, so is the F50. Good grief. Dude, 4GT. Talk about your 2005 representation. Oh, Murcielago 6.2. Heck yeah. NSX GT2. Don't see that too often. Other concept cars. I've always wanted to play this one in particular a bit more because I've heard a lot of good things about 3. I mean, you know. It's quite a solid sounding Viper V10 recording they're using for the sound there. Okay, whoa, whoa, whoa. Little squirrely. Oh, yeah. Got this, like, full interior and everything. Being able to look around like that, that's awesome. I'm not sure why I went invisible, but I did. Yeah, this still feels really good. Driving model and everything. All right, I need to try an actual race. Wheel to wheel against multiple opponents. See, like, I thought that's what I was doing. Oh, I guess I need to, like, set the other opponents. Okay. Already smashed into my light. What a jerk. Yeah, this would be awesome with a good wheel, and man, I had a good wheel for the 360 for a little bit, one of those Fanatic wheels. Of course, there was just that regular, like, official wheel, which was okay, actually, but yeah. This was definitely the era that I got into, like, some sim racing light setups. Mainly for Forza Horizon, Test Drive Unlimited 2, stuff like that. 7 laps! I guess it is elimination, right? Oh, yeah. That was not a great turn. But whatever. I'm winning. Yeah, I could definitely put some time into this one. Already into racing mode, just not even thinking, not saying a thing, just looking at racing lines and trying not to completely ruin this car. Oh, God. Like that. Yeah, I would say the physics are a little iffy. I mean, it's certainly an arcadey type of thing. It's not a sim racer or anything like that, so. But it feels just a little bit lighter and a little bit more aloof than perhaps I would prefer. Still, though, looks great, sounds great. Yeah, it's good stuff. That particular little hill, man, jeez. Hitting it too fast. Curious if this is one of those that you can play on, like, a newer Xbox with higher resolution. Because definitely looking off into the vanishing point over the horizon there, it's just like, it's, you know, getting that sort of fade in of stuff, and very aliased and not the most clear image. A poor car. Do like some of the damage model stuff, though. Oh, heck yeah. It's all me, baby. I'm liking that. Would like to put more time into it. Now, here is one that I have genuinely never played, but I very vividly remember seeing it, a demo kiosk, and just, I want to say probably G4 and all that, just coverage, and it looked really intriguing. Never gave it a shot, though. Cameo Elements of Power. I believe it's like a third-person action-adventure-y kind of thing. And it's by Rare. Huh. Now that I see it, I really see it. Those are some rare-looking characters, that's for sure. Interesting. Play or score attack. Yeah, I don't even know what kind of game this is exactly. Why do the elves rule us with such unquestioned supremacy? Our technology, our sweat, our lives are given in service of this land. Let us rise something other. King something.
Among the clouds, Cameo was bestowed with a fabled transformation magic. But her sister's jealousy released a dark shadow from our pasts.
All right. What? I guess you can transform into things.
Well,
This is already not what I thought it would be at all. Oh, how delightfully cartoony. This is a launch title too, and honestly, looks pretty great. Doink. Oh, this is charming. Okay. So I can't just straight up change forms. Or I can just be me. Oh, I'm like a little fairy thing. Yeah, see, this is the gameplay that I remember. Like, just being her. For some reason, I completely blotted out the other forms from my mind, I guess. I just love that. Can hurl it away. Or use it as a club. Okay. Wonderful. Dang. No. Yeah, I want to continue. Let's go, man. I'm intrigued by this. Boink. This little fire guy is giving me some problems. Oh no! Dang it! This is becoming a very odd game of pool here. Oh, okay. How fun. Whoops. Well. Anyway, that is some cameo elements of transforming into random things. That's really, really cool. I do want to put more time into that. That is more interesting than I thought it would be, for sure. All right, for this next one, this is another one of those games that just really made me want to get a 360. It was an exclusive, Dead Rising, Capcom's zombie thing, just in a shopping mall, very 1978 Dawn of the Dead kind of deal. And it was just one of those that I was immediately intrigued by the concept, especially seeing gameplay of it, and just taking all these items and smashing them, making use of what you can within the shopping mall. I loved that idea. And the actual game, well, I was a little bit mixed on it. I ended up liking the second one a little bit more overall, but yeah, it's still really, really good. And I very much associate it with the 360, more so than the second one, because I played that on PC. All right, let's go, Frank. He's covered wars, you know.
All right, listen. I want to get shots of the whole town before the National Guard finishes roping it off. Take me over the main street.
Yeah. The photography mechanic, I really thought that was neat. The timer, not so much. Although, you know, you get used to it and you kind of appreciate it for what it is after you play it enough, but yeah. And then the boss battles, oh my goodness. Honestly, I hate the bosses in this one. Definitely a very mixed bag of a series, but these first two, they definitely stand out for sure. No, I didn't see it. Year. All right, gotta be on the heliport at 12 p.m. on the 22nd, or I'll be left behind. Looks like it's a hair past a freckle. What's up, Carlito? I just love this mall, man. It's just so fun. to be in it. All right, let's take some pictures. Such drama. Don't do it, lady. What an ugly dog. No, Brian Reynolds.
Fantastic.
Nice camera. Are you a photographer?
As a matter of fact, I am.
No, I'm a pervert. Jeez, Frank. Yeah. Give me those CRTs. I wonder what's on TV. Other than your face. Oh, yeah. Definitely a bit clunkier than the second and third and however many others. Told you guys to stay away. I'm not sure it really registered. We gotta find ourselves some clothes, you know? This is the important stuff. Some swanky shoes. There we go. Yeah, that'll do it. El Kabong. That'll work. All the pies. Ouch. Achievement, though. Kids' choice clothing. All right, here we go. Wonderful. Shopping cart zombie. Give me that. Just honestly kind of endless fun. I mean, until it ends because of the timer or whatever, but, you know. What an enjoyable game. Haven't even really got to the actual game yet, but that is some Dead Rising. I still really enjoy it. Now here's one that I really associate with the early 360 days and haven't played since I first got a 360 is Viva Pinata. And yeah, I don't actually remember a whole lot about this except like it's gardening and you're attracting all these pinata animals and stuff. And yeah, there's some really interesting packaging for this particular release. Got a bonus disc and all these colorful things, but yeah, check that out. What a lovely presentation. And that definitely extends to the game as well, from what I recall. I just remember thinking, wow, like, you know, the actual pinata texture and detail and everything on these creatures was super cool. And it's another Rare game. Of course it is. Yeah, I did not mean to pick two games by Rare here, but here we are. What a lovely looking little world. Heck yeah.
The worm has turned up because you have uncovered some good soil.
Good deal. That's definitely what I remember doing the most. Just smacking dirt. Hope you enjoy this grass worm. And we've attracted another creature. What a lovely little game. the art direction, the colors. Yeah, just, was the kind of detail that you didn't see at all previously. Honestly, not even on like PC or whatever. Not in 2006. Yeah, take that, you naughty soil. Dirty soil. So dirty. About the little worm house. That's right. Go make some more worms. I built you a love shack over there. Oh yeah. Bow chicka worm worm.
Your pinatas have made an egg.
Heck yeah. So anyway, this game is just a cute little thing. You can grow your gardens and you attract the creatures and you get them to reproduce and you unlock more stuff and you build stuff. It's just fun. I remember having fun with this for a good few hours when it was, one of the earliest games that I remember renting for this thing. Viva Pinata. A very rare kind of game indeed. Oh my goodness, I've been going for hours and hours here, and there are so many others that I had on hand to maybe look at during this section of the video, but I'm going to choose just one more, and for that I'm going to go with this triple pack of Xbox Live Arcade games. I always liked when they released these physically, because otherwise they were download only, of course, and this one in particular I've been wanting to revisit for a long time. And that is Splosion Man by Twisted Pixel. I mean, all three of those games here are pretty great, but this one in particular was just one of those that kind of signifies Xbox Live Arcade in its relatively early days, or at least the early days when I was getting into it. Oh yeah, the exploding into meat chunks and everything. Yeah, I just remember this being a really fun game. Just a platformer with an interesting gimmick. It blows his head off. Time to explode some dudes and everything else. All right. Yeah, immediately comes back. It's just one of those things where it's like, once you figure out the actual mechanics of exploding in certain ways, doing all the wall jumping and whatnot, it's just oddly enjoyable. Oh yeah. Plus exploding those guys into meat chunks. It's just delightful. Boom. 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 The animation. The art style. I don't know. The whole presentation, Of course, the mechanic. It's one of those things that just led to it stuck in my mind all these years. And also Missplosion Man. I remember that was a thing as well, but I don't remember what was different. Yeah. Just one of those things. It's a fun era. Very much so. Just a lot of creativity coming out of every single bit of Xbox Live Arcade for a bit. I don't know if this is technically an indie game. Probably. Either way, it was definitely that realm of indies just seriously having an impact. Boom. Good old Splosion Man. Yeah, while I could easily and happily keep playing games for the next week straight, I'm gonna cut myself off here. But man, the 360, 2 decades later, still an utterly enjoyable console. And generation in general. The PS360 era, as some refer to it, may just be my favorite console gen in hindsight. If nothing else, it's the one where I was the most locked in, keeping up with every new release as much as I could, plus all the stuff on the periphery, cause things were changing fast. Like the rise of downloadable content from the infamous Oblivion Horse Armor DLC onwards. The idea of piecemeal content and microtransactions was kind of a tough sell at first, especially since on the 360 you had to pay using Microsoft points. And that often meant physically buying a points card in a store, depending on your situation with credit cards and online payments. Then the strange idea of pre-ordering DLC happened, with the first one I remember being LA Noire's Rockstar Pass. A portent of things to come, I guess, with season passes and whatnot. Plus full downloadable games period, particularly retro games. I remember thinking how cool it was. Titles like Mortal Kombat and Doom got digital re-releases. It's easy to take for granted now. And also virtual retro gaming environments like Microsoft Game Room, RIP. I'm still fond of that one, or more so the idea of what it could have been. But in general, Microsoft grew a reputation for trying a little bit of everything for a while. Remember the HD DVD drive in 2006? I sure do, and I remember selling a grand total of one of them at my job, but considering it was $199, that's not too surprising. And we certainly sold a lot more of the Kinect, at least by comparison. That whole thing is a story for another time. It was really like an entire second act for the 360. Along with the new Xbox experience, or NXE, in 2008, replacing the now beloved Blades dashboard and adding Mii's, or Xbox avatars, totally not ripping off Nintendo at all. And nowadays, the future of Xbox is seemingly in jeopardy, or at least heavily evolving, with all kinds of news about mass layoffs, game cancellations, studio closures, rising costs, decreasing hardware sales, and big questions about the future of the Xbox division in general. It's just not an ecosystem I bother with anymore, but the more time passes, the more I'm happy to revisit what was clearly the golden era for Xbox in the 360. 20 years later and the hardware still looks great, the games are still fun as heck, and that feeling of optimism for the future is still there if you look hard enough. It's a time capsule from when Xbox was firing on all cylinders. They were hungry, and it showed. The brand may now aimlessly waft through one crisis after another, but revisiting the 360 brings me back to when it was still genuinely exciting. So on this 20th anniversary, I hope you've enjoyed remembering with me on what Xbox once was, rather than dwell too much on what it's become. And if you enjoyed this console retrospective, do check out some of my others, and stick around for more of them in the future. Plus all manner of retro hardware history here on LGR. There's always new stuff on old stuff in the works. And of course, thank you for watching.